All right, good people, good people. How's it going? It's your boy Dunskill here. Happy Friday evening. Welcome to my live stream. Thanks for joining. Um, yeah, it's not another gas stream episode here today. And yeah, we're just checking things out. Let me just have a look here, see who's all here. Alrighty. Da, 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 da. Okay. So, yeah, not another gas stream. That means we're talking about guitar acquisition syndrome tonight, folks. And feel free to drop a comment if you even know what the heck I'm talking about. I'm just kidding. Guitar acquisition syndrome, gas. It's when you buy in too many guitars or gear of some kind and you can't stop. Well, at least that's my definition. And I've made a couple videos about this already, and they did okay, folks. Oh geez, sorry, this is unshaven Dunskill. I haven't shaved in a while, as you can tell. I gotta look sharp for those live streams, right? Anyway, yeah, so what was I babbling on about? Yeah, gas and yeah, whatever. Feel free to drop a comment tonight, folks. Let me know how your evening's going. If you've had gas, if you've seen those videos that I'm talking about, where they were a couple years ago, going back a couple years now, but they did okay, and they were kind of going into showing where I was with my gas at the time. So, let me just check here. Let me see these comments. Yeah. So, anyway, gas. Where am I at? Have I found a cure? It's been a couple years since I made those videos. I think even they were about a year or so apart. And in that time, since the last time I made that last video, a few things have changed in life, and I see my use of guitars and equipment kind of continuing in the same way, but much like I had spoke about in those videos, I still feel kind of the same way that I'm trying to whittle it down, the amount of stuff I have, to just the stuff that I need. So yeah. Oh, actually, if you guys don't mind, drop me a comment if you can hear me okay. Otherwise, I've just been talking to myself for a full 3 minutes and 43 seconds now. So, hey, Hack is here. Hack, can you hear me okay? Let me know. Anyway, as we were saying, yeah, so since I made those videos about, the gear acquisition thing, uh, essentially, things have slightly changed, in terms of life and life circumstances. But one of my views about using the stuff that I enjoy. Oh, it says you can hear you just a bit low. Okay, let me lean in a bit here. I don't know if this will work. Whoops. Oh, okay. Maybe I should hook up my mic. Anyway, better when you're closer to the mic. Okay. Let's do that then. All right. So, where was I? Yeah. So back in those couple videos that I made, I covered topics like, amassing kind of the gear that you use, without, trying to fall in love with it, trying to really bond with it, and really, it's getting the most value for your dollar. Because some of this stuff, let's face it, it's freaking expensive, right? Um, I talked to few buddies, and there's a whole bunch of fear about taking your expensive gear out. So Guitar Hack is tuned in, and he's asking if there's any new tunes I'm working on. Of my own, yes, there are at least three projects that I got cooking in the oven, and including I just got to get, as we talked earlier, Hack, got to get my bloody computer working. So I consider the computer part of my. I mean, I use it for a lot of stuff, but it's part of the gear acquisition thing too. We all think like faster, better computers can help us make better music, but I'm learning the hard way that it's not the case. So, but yeah, as far as new tunes, as long as my systems are healthy and yeah, I get to do a couple. I got a couple new tracks that are in the oven right now. So we got a couple viewers in here. Folks, feel free to comment on the gear acquisition thing. Um, and this is kind of like a follow up live stream to those videos that I made before. So, so where I'm at now is some of the predictions came true. Like, I'm down to, much lower level of gear. A lot, still pretty nice stuff, I have to admit. Um, I'm not gonna lie. Offbeat bass gear is here. Hello, brother. And yeah, so I'm cutting down quite a bit to just stuff that I really really enjoy. More than that, how to basically use the stuff that I have a lot better, because some of it is bloody complex and deep, and I like using, I don't know how to explain it, like sucking the value out of all the tones I can get from something. Like for example, like I have like an Eventide H90, and that thing is, God, you can control satellites with that bloody thing. Sounds great, but it's deep, and you really got to know what you're doing with it if you want to, get like 100% of the value out of it. It's not a cheap little device, but I use it all the time, and I don't 100% know it, but yeah, it's one of those pieces of gear. Let me know in the comments, folks, if you think that I talked about this in the video too. If the complexity of a piece of gear is related to your acquisition of it, meaning either you want it or you don't want it. Like, oh shit, this thing is cool, I want it, or shit, this thing is way too busy, I don't want it. Maybe I should just do a separate stream on that. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but anyway, um, long story short, my gear acquisition thing is kind of dropped down quite a bit, and it's come down to normal. I shouldn't say normal levels, but I find myself just not into gear that much. Like I still watch YouTube videos, still have a lot of the same habits, except for the spending money part. And that's driven because nothing's really like getting my goat these days. Nothing to do with the products that are coming out. Like, you know, there's too many. Hack. Here's a comment from Hack. Yeah, too many options wears me out. Yeah, sometimes there's too much like option paralysis. So everyone says drop down prices are all up and there's very little new out there. Yeah, totally offbeat. Yeah, it's you know prices are, especially in the used market. Like I know I'm about to put up a few more bits of gear, and and it's just brutal out there. Like there's it's just a slaughterhouse. Um, I've been waiting ages to sell a guitar, for example, and for what I'm selling it for, it should have sold ages ago. But my buddy says he thinks it's just an ugly guitar, so go figure. Uh, yep, stick with it. Stick with what you like. I agree. Uh, yeah, the shipping could be murderous too, offbeat. Yeah, I agree. That's definitely helps. Those outside factors. Those outside factors really, like, the cost of shipping and taxes, especially if I'm an idiot and I like, of course I like nice things and expensive things, boutiquey things. But like, I remember like I got a pedal made by Rangers or sorry, Ranger Effects from England, and just like, my God, to get it shipped, the import tax and everything, I was like, oh man, this pedal better sound really good. You know, Guitars are hard to sell, pedals go quick. Yeah, guitars are way harder, like way more, like harder to ship and way more expensive to ship. Like, at first I was scared about it, but I've shipped like probably a good, like, I don't know, 8 to 10 guitars now and never had a problem. Knock on wood, right? So, oh, absolutely offbeat. Yeah, I've had to. I waited like a hell of a long time to move. My buddy had a Vox AC30 with me while he was traveling, and man, I couldn't sell that thing for the life of me. It took forever. So, Hacksaw only local sales. Yeah, I know a lot of people that just stick with that policy. You know, it's a little safer that way, less risk. Unless you know it's I don't know how to explain it. Less risk in some ways, for sure. For sure, for local sales, yeah. I got bit the other day by a guy that, like, I mean, I took a deposit from the guy, but I showed up to meet up with a guy, and he ended up not liking the guitar for some reason. He's like, "Oh, it's too late," and anyway, uh, he gave me some money to hold on to it for him and for the gas. So I was just like, okay, fine. But I still have the bloody guitar, so but that pissed me off. Offbeat's gonna try some consignment sales for a couple guitars. Yeah, Offbeat. I hope it works out for you, man. Like, I did that once. I put a guitar up for consignment. A pretty nice guitar at a pretty nice place that no longer exists. It's closed down, and it didn't work out there. Like, I had the guitar there for like 3 months, and they kept on bugging me to knock down the price. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So it's kind of a rare boutique guitar. It was Ibanez Pia, Pink Pia. So that's a really good point, Offbeat. Yeah, got more eyes on the guitar. Like, oh, what's that? What's that? What's that? Yeah. You got your casual customers coming in. You know, the one thing I don't know about you folks, but here's a question about the topic tonight, being gear acquisition syndrome. When you sell something, do you sometimes get the itch to buy something right away? Does that ever happen to you? It's like, some cases, like, you want to sell something, right? You know you want to sell whatever, a guitar. And you're not thinking about any particular. It's different. You're not thinking about any particular guitar, but all of a sudden you're like, you know, I could use another guitar, Guitar X, to replace the one that I just sold. It's like an itch in the back of your head. And I was just doing one of these, saying, hey, I think my gas is quieted down a bit, because there's nothing out there that I'm super excited with. It's cost prohibitive, blah blah blah. I can't wait to sell a couple pieces that I got going because yeah, I need the dough. And but I'm like, as I'm cutting down and trying to get just to the pure good stuff, the cream rises to the top, just like Macho Man there. Just as I'm trying to get to that level, I can't help but think, man, is there something that I'm missing? You know, that's a vicious cycle for sure, Hack. Yeah, yeah, and it's hard to break the pattern, right? Like, let me know what you guys think. If how how's that itch for you when as soon as you sell something, does it start right? Like, might not even be thinking about buying anything, but you're just like, oh, I need I got some dough. Maybe I should check out some old speaker cabinets or some shit. So anyway, like I was saying, I feel like I'm in a much I'm in a much better place now as far as the gear acquisition and stuff. That's due to a few life constraints, but also the fact that like I just absolutely love the stuff that I have. My amps, my guitars, my pedals. And I like to get to know them better, right? By using them and recording with them. So that's the fun of it, less is more kind of thing, and it's freeing. I'm spending less time twiddling. So that's part of the reason why I sold my quad cortex before, and I'm thinking about doing it again. You heard it here first, folks. uh, you know really am done buying anything unless it's a crazy good deal. I have everything covered and have some gear I don't need. The stuff I have has all the bases covered. Yeah, offbeat man, that's a great place to be. I think I'm in the same sandbox or ready to jump in there with you. You know, like, do I need any more mics? Like I got like some studio equipment here and like a little rack and with some API preamps in it, and a guy was selling some Neve compressors and a Neve EQ, like these Neve configure. It was same as a 512. I'd show you guys, but I'd have to pull all this stuff out. But anyway, it cheap. So I call my buddy, my studio guru, and I'm like, dude, what do you think of the price of these things for these Rupert Neve, preamp, or sorry, not preamps, but these I think it was one of them was a distressor and a compressor and an EQ. And he's like, I wouldn't bother. I'm like, but the price, like these things are fucking revered and oops, pardon my French. Uh, but anyway, he was just like, I wouldn't bother. You got enough EQ at your control, right? And I was shocked because I had read so much good stuff about the Rupert Neve equipment. So, and shot an arrow right through my gas right there, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. Well, if it's not that good, then I won't even bother you, even if it is a crazy good deal. Like I think I'll. He's like, you've got those bases covered, you fool. I've got EQ coming out the ears. Many tone shaping things. Don't no need to go crazy. No need to go crazy. So can't be obsessive compulsive about gear. Sometimes you forget what you own. Yeah, if you get too much stuff, right? Yeah, I have a friend of mine that's got like so much gear coming out of his ears that he forgets where it is. Like I finally ended up selling that Vox for him and was sitting on some cash. And he came back from his travels briefly. I had just told him that I had sold it for him. So you know, he came back. I saw him. I reminded him that I had, some dough for him, and but he forgot, and he's like, what it was for, you know. I'm like, man, remember that giant hand wired cream colored, Vox? Like, you can't, like, how do you forget an amp that big? You know, he's like, which Vox? Which one was that? I was like, but this guy's got like 30 amps or some stuff. Like he's got so many that he has them tucked all over the place in different pockets because he's always going all over the place, right? And he's like, next time I'm in town, I'll pick that up, and that could be anywhere from 6 months to a year, you know. So I had to get rid of it because it was just so big and taking up so much space, and he didn't even really want it or use it. So, which was a shame. It was a great amp. So sometimes another opinion is great. Oh yeah, you can't go wrong. Sounds like Joe B. Mr. Bonamassa. Yeah, he gives stuff away. That guy, like, you know, he's just got. I, I think I heard he's got 3 Nerdvilles now. I could be wrong. I know there's one in New York, one in Nashville, California, or Vegas. I could be wrong. I don't know. But Joey B's got the dough and he's got the flow. Don't you know? He's a guy with gas, but luckily he's withstanding it because he's works his butt off playing a badass guitar. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. There's balance right there. That's when your gas isn't quite out of control because you're backing it out. So yeah, confirmed he's got three. Yeah, New York, Nashville, and L.A. Yeah. Yeah, so I know for a lot of people, everybody, you know, gets gas over one thing or another, and you know, and luckily I'm immune to gas to certain things. Like for example, vintage guitars and vintage amps and instruments. I don't get gas for that. I never have. Um, yeah, Hack's referring to Joe B there. He worked for it. Yeah, I give him props too. He's a bad mofo for since he was a little kid. Yeah, I think him and I are either the same age or he's like maybe I think he's close to my age. Pardon me. I think he's close to I think he's a little older than me. But man, what a badass! There's a lot of footage of him from when he was young. So I met him at a Nashville cigar bar. I could see a guy like Joe smoking nice cigars. He just seems like that kind of guy. It's funny. He does really transform when you see footage of him, or if anybody's ever seen him live. Um, he transforms like into he's got the suit, the glasses, the slicked hair. He's singing his ass off, and he's just doing his thing. But then when you see him at say like Norm's Rare Guitars, he's got on like jeans and like a sweater and like a Gibson trucker hat. So uh, I could seen him twice live. Yeah, I would imagine. I would wonder how bloody loud it was, or if it was loud but controlled. Because he's got quite the rep for having bazillions of amps. So, drinking coffee, smoking big cigar. I love Johnny Cash, brother. Yeah. So yeah, this stream's about the gas update, for Dennis Gill. But I'd like to know where you guys are at with your gas. We're talking about Joe Bonamassa right now, who's a giant paradox monster guitar player and a prime example of gas, giantly controlled gas. Hackett saying his sound in reference to his sound, it was very controlled at the show. I would imagine so. Yeah, I'm sure that guy's ear. I'm sure his ears are fried. I've heard him talk about how he's can't hear certain frequencies anymore. After a life, could you imagine? After a lifetime of blasting your ears off with all those crazy amps that he's got. I could see I can see it affecting your ears, and I can't see. I mean I don't know how your ears could withstand that. So Hack is saying his guitars have way more than I deserve. Way more than you deserve, or way more than you need. That's always a question. I say if you worked hard your whole life and guitars are your thing and you like playing them, you know, keep the good ones, screw all the rest, or sell them or trade them or flip them. I don't know. I'm a little bit savage sometimes. Like a guitar has to just hit me in the cojones to really make me want to keep it. And I have maybe one or two that I've let go over time that are like ones that got away. Some guitars have been like perfectly good. Like I have this amazing Daphne Blue American Strap Pro with single HSS configuration. Killer guitar. I recorded with it. It was awesome. But I already have Sir with an HSS. I forget the name of the model. Was it Sir Classic S? You guys might have seen it on my channel before. And anyway, I don't need two of the exact same guitar. Like in terms of configuration, sound like, oh, I like the blue one. Like, it wasn't a dud, so I sold it. Um, it hurt a little bit because it played fine. There was absolutely nothing wrong. But my Sir is my Sir. I've had that guitar since like God, 2011 maybe or 12. I don't know. I'd have to look it up in my. I keep a ledger of where and when I got all my guitars. So partly for memories, and I should probably give that to the insurance company at some point. But hack strategies to rotate them. All the duds are gone. Yeah, yep. That's a good way to do it. Uh, just get rid of them. Yeah, hack's a Les Paul guy. That's for sure. Yeah, yeah. I've got a couple myself. And I mean, you can just I don't know if you can see over my shoulder, but there's one, two, three Telecasters. Right? Telecasters are probably my thing. Like, no, those are all highly different configurations. And stay tuned for a video on that, folks. You'll see my breakdown of my tele collection coming up. So, to quarter my basses and guitars to get to a reasonable level. Yeah. And everyone's reasonable is different, right? Everyone's got a different yardstick, I guess you'd say. You know, And for some people, you get hit over the head with that yardstick by your wife or partner. Just might happen. So, but yeah, we need what we need, right? And that's different from we like what we like. There's nice to have, and there's, I call them stunt guitars, like, wow, it'd be cool to have like a freaking, I don't know, some kind of like band guitar, like one of those things. And I got a buddy that bought one of those. He's like, "Oh, this thing's so cool! It's like a banjo with a guitar neck on it, and it's got guitar strings and everything like that, but it's got a banjo body, and it's just when the heck you gonna use that, boy?" How many are you up to? Up Are you up to offbeat? Sorry, hack. I cannot decipher that code. How many are you up to offbeat? Can you please repeat the question? Um, so yeah, I like to keep my guitar collection in like clusters, and even though I got three tellies, like I said, they all have different pickup configurations and setups. What else do I have a lot of? Well, that's it. I mean, everything else is kind of one-offishy, you know. So, oh heck, yeah, my God, you're right, man. The worst is definitely rebuying guitars you sold. I have done that more times than, and that was one of the things. That's a great shout. That was one of the things that really helped kick down the door about like, holy cow, I'm asking offbeat. Oh, sorry. You were talking to offbeat, yeah. Sorry, hack. I can read. Me, a guitar player. Yeah, so off. Okay. Sorry. That's what hack was typing. I was like, how many guitars are you up to? I'm like, huh? Yeah, I don't know if you guys are able to see the chat. I think that's like I think I have to post it here because I'm on the free version of StreamYard. So words are good for talking and reading. Oh, me like words. Words is good. Oh, you guys can see the chat? Oh, okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so um what was I saying? Um yeah, so, and to be honest, like I have another friend of mine that's like a Les Paul dude. He's got like God, like 15 Les Pauls. Like he's big into one of these guys that's big into Slash, and I've honestly never tried a Slash guitar. I've never put my hands on one, so I don't know what they're like. I've heard, they got certain neck profile and forget the special Slash pickups. I think so. Anyway, again, no gas for one of those for me. I never had it. Never tickled my fancy. So, yeah. So thanks, Hack. Glad you guys see the chat there. Um, yeah, I don't know. Everyone's yeah. 15 Les Pauls. Yeah, I know you're marked safe from. And that's not all. I think I have to check with him. I've been to his house. He's a Les Paul guy. He's got two SGs. Um, but they're all like pre 1993. You won't buy. Sorry, pre. I think it's pre 2003 for some reason. I forget what he tells me. Um, why specifically? Like nothing to do with that Goodwood era stuff. If I could just remember this. Anyway, I I'm gonna try and get him on the channel one of these days. And see if he's not too shy enough to come out. So Hack has tried some Slash LPs. Not a fan. I haven't laid a finger on one. Hack, what didn't you like about him? Let us know. Um, it's funny. Like signature guitars is a thing that like I've had I've had a few of them. Some I've regretted. Um, Hack has never believed in that Goodyear stuff. A good guitar is a good guitar. Yeah, I think it's baloney too, Hack. Yeah, good. Like it's just rumor and speculation, but like at the end of the day, I think you gotta judge a guitar on its own merits. That's true. But yeah, what was I saying about signature guitars there? Just checking to see if I have any right now. Other no, no. Currently, the only signature guitar I own is a Les Paul, which is the probably most famous Les Paul. Played a Dead Mint vintage teardrop Vox bass, and it was awful. Likely why it was Dead Mint. She's like, oh, this thing's hardly been played. Hmm. I deduce, Watson, this thing probably sucks. Yeah, just like I was saying earlier, vintage I've never had gas for. Like I've tried a handful of vintage guitars, and I'm just like, meh, you know, somewhat ridiculous. The money's ridiculous for them, and like, what are you supposed to do with parts, And like, if you break something, or even what they call player grade guitars, like, who gives a crap? Like, you know. Yeah, so Hack didn't like the neck profile and look at them, the Slash guitars. Yeah. Yeah, I got another buddy that has a nice red one. Or sorry, it's not red. It's got a funny name like Rose. I don't know, John. If you're watching or in the chat, drop drop me a line on the name of the color of your Slash one that you just got. I think it's Rosa Corsa or it's something like that. They look too bad. It's nice kind of sumptuous red sort of thing. I don't know why I was doing that, but making those hand motions that is, but whatever. Vintage, but yeah, vintage guitars. I figure if you buy a guitar young enough and you keep it, by the time you get old and playing it, it will become vintage. So that's one way to look at it, I guess. So, but the other thing too is comparing oneself to others. It's like that sometimes comes up in gas too. Is like, oh geez, this guy's got that and this and that, and I wish I had this and that, or or I'm happy. It could go the other way where it's like, oh, look at that guy. Why does he need all that crap? It could be like anti-snobbery in a way, where it's like, I'm just fine with this beat up old piece of shit. I don't know, Sears guitar, like it sounds good enough for me. Like, screw all you guys that like your gear and all that. You're all idiots, right? So I've seen that, kind of those kinds of comments too. So Only signature good. I like his LP. Yeah, hack. Yeah, yeah. I've had my share. I've had a Steve Vai Pia. I've had a Ernie Ball, Music Man. St. Vincent. I had a John Petrucci JP6 for a bit. Uh, what else? Um, I don't know. I'd have to check my 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 list, my ledger. But I've tried quite a few, you know, as well in stores and it's fine. It's like it's specific to that player, right? I don't see a problem with it, you know. People like what they like, you know, horses for courses. So. Yeah, Nick Johnson Strat on because it's just yeah. My first Strat, like nice, yeah. My first Strat that I ever got was an Eric Johnson Strat back in the day. I think I got that in like 2004, I think, or two. Was it 2004 or 2007? God, my memory sucks for years. Anyway, it was a bloody good guitar and candy apple red, nice neck on it. Sounded great. I recorded a lot of stuff with it. Played a bunch of shows with it. Got good money for it. Reason I sold it, the back of the neck and the neck itself was, even though I played the shit out of it, it was still like very lacquery. Like it was still kind of like sticky-ish. Like when I was playing shows, I would just be like, "Rah!" Like friction burns as I was playing up and down the neck. Yeah, so yeah, Nick Johnson Strat is amazing. Hack. I've played yours and I've heard the USA ones are stellar, but worth mucho dinero to pick up. So um, yeah. Uh, what was I gonna say about the Nick Johnson? I heard somewhere that Nick Johnston is from Toronto. Hack, maybe it was you that told me. Uh, but anyway, he's a ripping guitar player. That's for sure. Um, you know, which brings me sort of to the next concept here as far as gas. It's like if you look at pro guys, I want to say pro guys like you know like let's take Nick Johnson for example since his name's on the screen. You see a lot of these guys. Even today, I watched a Gig Rig episode with Daniel Steinberg. He's building a board for Andy Timmons, who is another great guitar player. If you guys don't know Andy Timmons, he's monster. But even he was like, despite the high amount of technology and boutiquiness, even he was traveling light with just the bare necessities. He's like, nope, I don't need this, this, and this, and this, and this. He's like, I don't want option paralysis. I want, just this, this pedal, this pedal, this pedal. I know how to use them. I know, and you want everything like just shrunk down so that you could carry it on a backpack and get by and get all the sounds that he needed for his particular sounds. You know, one mistake I made in the past was that I wanted to be prepared for any gig. I wanted to build like super flying Battle Fortress pedal boards and like for a while I used that to justify how many different and how many of each types of guitars I had. And after a while, the logic just didn't hold up in my own squirrely brain of self justification, right? So, Hack is saying Nick Johnson is Canadian. Don't know where he's from. He's not originally from Toronto, but yeah, I think he is Canadian. Woo! We got a lot of great Canadian guitar players representing right now, folks. That's for sure. Let's keep it up, Canada. So, um, yeah. So, celebrity status. I don't know, like, if that has anything to do with the quality of a guitar, or I shouldn't say that. That's incorrect. Sorry, let me correct myself. I believe that you know, like I don't have. a good, as Hack said earlier, a good guitar is a good guitar. If it's a good guitar, like in other words, it meets your criteria of sounding good, playing good, looking good. You know, hopefully it's not being played by some, I don't know, like the name of the signature is not emblazoned on the headstock. Or actually, I don't know if even that's a big turnoff. I don't know. What I'm saying is like there's probably some circumstances where you just wouldn't want to play a guitar based on who the person is. Like let's just say I'm trying to use like an absurd example here, but like let's say there was like I don't know. No, I can't say it. I'm on YouTube, so I don't want to get too graphic. But let's just say there's some like really obnoxious movie star that gets a guitar, a signature guitar, like Johnny Depp. I mean, and anyway, let's say Johnny Depp gets his own signature guitar, right? And it's shaped like I don't know if you guys have ever seen footage of him with the Hollywood Vultures, but he plays sometimes some weird guitars, right? And anyway, like let's say he just gets some ugly ass guitar, um, and sorry, just checking the chat here. Um, the idea that it's just a good guitar and you don't care that it belongs to Johnny Depp. You just want the guitar, or you're like, that guy's obnoxious to me. I don't want that guitar. I don't care how good it plays. You know, could go so many different ways, right, folks? Totally, totally can. I'd love to know your opinion about celebrity guitars. So, Hack gigs an 11 pedal board for the variety of material they do. It's good enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good comment, Hack. Yeah, I would do this. Well, not that I'll ever get a signature guitar, but some guys are just kind of reluctant about that. Other guys don't care and swirl their signature like right big on the front of the headstock. So well, it's great to see everybody who's tuned in tonight. Thanks for watching the live version of this. If you're tuning in later, please drop me a comment about your situation or your story with gas. This is a common thing that hits us all, but in very different ways. It's one of those things that affects millions of Canadians and Americans worldwide. There should be public service announcements about this. Families are destroyed every day by terrible situations of gas. Have you ever found yourself checking the Long McQuaid Gear Hunter page every 20 minutes to look for that one Fender Strat that you don't have? Yeah, no. I know, like, if I'm fiending for a piece of gear, or when I couldn't stop thinking about it. Especially if it was like, most of the time, I justified it because it was for a project or some band or something that I'm getting into. So I was just like, yep, I gotta need this pedal. Or this pedal board is too small. If I get these two pedals and swap this out, then this is gotta go blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. Right? So, the lies, the very lies we tell each other, you know. That's funny offbeat. Easy Bengals show a demo of every guitar that his local Long McQuaid store ever had. Yeah, yeah. It's Long McQuaid's very. I don't know if folks out in the U.S. are familiar. Might not be familiar, but Long McQuaid is our Canadian chain that. I don't know if it's so. I've never been to a Guitar Center, but I would say it's equivalent in terms of its chaininess, its its existence as a chain across Canada. So the biggest vendor we have, family owned, and results vary. Some of them are run really well, others not so much. Some have cool inventories, others not so much. Some are a mix of both. Uh, yeah, Hacker saying it's our guitar center. Yeah. But much like anything, down, I've always found like when I've been in the States, not so, like I said, I've never been to a guitar center, but at other stores, Americans have so much cool stuff down there that we don't get up here, right? So I'm assuming that spreads to music gear as well. Like, I was in such a bad state of gas one time for TC Electronic Plethora X3, which is like the TC Electronic multi pedal. You can get them as an X3, which has three buttons, an X5, which has five, and I think there's an even bigger one. And then there's the mini, or I think I don't know what they call it, a Plethora One or just a Plethora, which is just one. But what it does is it allows you to swap in all the different tone print effects, and you can tweak them, save them as presets. Very incredible pedal. So you had none in Canada for like forever. There was some sort of embargo on TC for a while. I recall because obviously couldn't get one from Lime McQuaid and Cosmo, the other big one that shut down. They didn't have them, so I went nuts and I started looking at places down the states. So I ordered it from Sweetwater on a lark. I just sent my order in with my credit card number, and sure enough, I got a call from a sales engineer and an email, and it was like surreal. Like, it was bizarre. He was like, "Yeah, Dennis, how you doing, man? Like, I'm blah blah, your sales engineer. No, I want to confirm we're shipping this to Canada, right? You're gonna have to pay these extra fees for imports and blah blah blah." And it's like, "You sure? I just wanted to check in with you, make sure you're cool with everything. Is there anything else I can get? Like anything you got questions about? You might as well, blah blah blah." Started just chatting, to give me some good. Like, the guy was friendly as hell, and I was just like, dude, I wish. I wish you guys had a location in Canada. Like, you know, Hawks confirming that the U.S. definitely has more options. So wish these Lados popped up more often. Yeah, I remember the Lados. Offbeat, what was the name of that famous shredder guitar player that played them? It's not. I know it's not Michelangelo Badio, but I got this picture in my head of some shredder dude playing lotto. Anyway, there's still, I guess, going with the gas thing is the idea of a bucket list. You know, like, I think I filled my bucket list, punched holes in it, and then filled them up, and then eventually, had to recreate the bucket list. Get a new bucket. Um, but that helped. That helped me calm down. But I'm wondering if there's like still any guitars or sounds in the back of my head that I haven't that I haven't really like chased down. Like I love Gretsch guitars and would love a White Falcon, and it's like, wow, that would be cool. I love Billy Duffy. I love the Cult. You know, that would be an amazing guitar. So I'm just like, nah. I've got a Gretsch Player's Jet over there, Player's Edition Jet. It's Gretchy enough. It's all the Gretsch I need, so I'm covered there. So I move on from that, and then like, and I'm like, I'm gonna put this out of my head. Very next day, I see him watching YouTube, and it's like a ad for this guitar store, and they're like, "Today we have this wonderful Blue Penguin Gretsch," and I don't know if you guys have ever seen or heard of a Gretsch Blue Penguin, but this was like a U.S. one-off, U.S. made custom shop one-off Blue Penguin, probably worth more than like a small country, you know. Like, it was stunning. And I'm like, there it is. I wasn't thinking about Gretsch, but there it is. So, the algorithm doesn't help, When we're trying to forget things, it's like, oh, you click on one Gretsch video about, White Falcon, and then all of a sudden it's like, bing, 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 trying to get your attention. So, uh, that's another aspect of the whole gas thing. So, but overall, I'm glad to report I'm doing, better with it. Like, I haven't really bought or traded guitar equipment in quite some time. Um, and I did get into trades for a bit. Sometimes to get out of a guitar that I was sitting on for a while. So I trade that for something that I like, and I'm fortunate to have done a couple really good trades this year that all worked out for me just great, just fine. So trades are always a risk because but at least you guys are going there, hopefully as equals, right? As opposed to the person with the guitar, the goods, and the other person, hopefully with the money, you know, cash, baby, cash. I don't like e-transfers, So anyway, folks, we got a few minutes left here. Anybody got any questions or anything to share about their experience with gas? Drop a comment. We can chat about it in the time we've got left. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I have no t-shirts or merch to sell. Woohoo! So we're free of any of that malarkey on this channel. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. I'm trying to see if these live streams are even worth it. I was trying to get some live stream plan going on, but it's boy is it harder than it sounds. So I'm gonna try and figure out a new solution for that instead of just talking to my laptop here with you know get some proper guitar playing going on these live streams. So we'll see how that turns out. And see, there's the gear acquisition right there. I'm like, maybe I should look into getting something so that I could play guitar online. That's probably gonna mean a visit to my local Long Quaid. I'm probably gonna have to go there. I have to get one of my guitars set up anyway. Maybe I'll just go over here to the used section and look at some shit. And then there's the gas. Like it's if you're not actively looking for something, something might just jump into your lap, right? I don't know. Has that ever happened to you guys? Like, boy, it's a lot to process sometimes when you're trying to like be mindful and like sane about your spending and justifying stuff. Because before you know it, you can end up with like a bunch of crap. And it's like, oh man, how did I get this far? Like, do I really need all this stuff? Like, so, I, I don't know. My story has gone like this. Sorry, it went like this for a while, like accumulating, 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 and then plateaued, and now I'm just like flattening off. Sold a bit, but but now I've flattened off again. I'm flying straight these days. So, yeah. Heck, saying I already have this, I use the Scarlet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was ready to. I wasn't blaming the Scarlet actually. I just don't know. Anyway, it's a mystery. We'll chat offline about that one, Hack. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I think when I think back on it, the idea of like where does it start? Where does it come from, right? And I think it comes from when you're young and you're starting to play. You might not have a lot of gear, or you might not have a lot of nice gear. Um, because you don't have any money and like you're not very good, and you're still learning, right? So Hack's saying he'll show me how to do it. Cool. Thanks, Hack. Um, so it's like it's kind of nice when you do get some gear and it's nice gear and you're like, wow, this feels great. It's so much easier to play. You know, like Trogly had an episode the other day about a guitar he got in from a young lady, like an Amazon guitar that she wasn't enjoying playing, and Trogly pulls out the guitar, and the strings are like that far off, off the bloody fretboard. But once he gets it all set up and everything like that, turns out it's a nice playing, good ass guitar, right? I think back to the guitar that I started off with, like it wasn't too bad. I started off on a PV, right? But I'm like, man, I really would love a Les Paul or a Strat. It starts from dreaming, right? The gas thing. It's like, if I could just get a Strat, I've always wanted one of those. Like, look at all my favorite Strat players, right? So I think that's probably one of the reasons why gets kicked off from a young age. At least it did for me. So, anywho, we'll just go on for another couple moments here, folks. If anybody has any questions, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on a Friday night. Nice relaxing night before a weekend. Hope everybody's ready for a nice relaxing weekend and you're not going running around. And I hope everybody gets a chance to play some guitar because that's good for your health, says Dr. Denskill. Yeah, I'm feeling much better, thank you, doctor. Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be I'm glad to be through a bad case of the gas, you know. But turning a corner about that involves a lot of self-reflection. It's like before you go to the store, I just go there to goof around and I really don't take it that seriously, you know. But some of my friends like, Dennis, do you have a problem? Like, why do you have so many, f bombing guitars, right? And I'm like, oh, cause I love them. It's my thing. Like, I don't go on trips. I don't have nice clothes. I don't drive a nice car. You know, and I just love them. It's for the love, and like I get to play them all the time and use them. I keep them on my walls so I can look at them when I'm not playing them. And like people ask me all the time, "Well, which one's your favorite?" I'm like, whichever one is in my hands at the moment. They all earn their place. So yeah. All right, folks. Well, it's about time we rang the bell. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna call it here. Thanks again for tuning in. If you're watching this in the future, thanks for watching this in the future. I hope this finds you well. Leave me a comment about your gas experience. If you've had one, or you have one, or you think it doesn't exist, or it's an epidemic. Um, watch out, folks. Watch out for the gas boogie monster. So, anyway, it's been a great evening spending time with y'all. I hope everybody keeps themselves safe, happy, and prosperous. With that, this is going to be Dunskill signing off.